was supposed to stay locked forever. Apartment 307. Nobody entered. Nobody stayed there. And according to the landlord, nobody even had the key anymore. So when Aisha heard something moving inside that room at 2:41 a.m., she stopped breathing. Slowly, she stepped into the dark hallway outside her apartment. The sound came again. A chair scraping across the floor. From inside room 307. Then, suddenly, the doorknob moved. Notice that phrase, the doorknob moved. Simple descriptions become terrifying in English when something ordinary happens at the wrong time. Because that room was supposed to be empty.
Aisha Khan, 25 years old, nursing student, quiet, responsible, practical. She had moved into the old apartment building only 6 days earlier. Cheap rent, good location, strange neighbors. The building itself felt old and tired. Flickering lights, long, silent hallways, pipes that groaned at night, like someone whispering through the walls. But there was one thing every tenant mentioned. Room 307. The locked room. Whenever Aisha asked about it, people changed the subject immediately, or said the same thing. Stay away from that room. Notice, stay away from that room. In English, short warnings sound more serious and mysterious. At first, she thought they were joking. She wasn't laughing anymore. Earlier that evening, Aisha returned home exhausted after a long hospital shift. She heated leftover food, watched videos on her phone, and tried to ignore the strange noises in the building. Around midnight, she heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow footsteps. Then silence. Then a soft knock somewhere far away. Knock. 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 She checked her door. Nobody there. Just the empty hallway and flickering lights. Before going back inside, she glanced down the corridor toward room 307. The old metal lock was still hanging from the door, untouched. Or so she thought. Because now, the lock looked slightly open. Aisha walked closer, carefully. Her slippers made soft sounds against the hallway floor. The closer she got, the colder the air became. Room 307 stood at the end of the corridor under a flickering light. The metal lock was hanging loose now. Unlocked. Her stomach tightened immediately. Somebody had opened it. Then suddenly, a whisper came from inside the room. Help me. Aisha froze. The voice sounded weak, desperate, human. Notice, help me. 2 simple English words, but in suspense stories, they instantly create emotional conflict. Because what if someone really was trapped inside? Aisha pulled out her phone flashlight. Her hands were already shaking. "Hello?" she called softly. No answer. She pushed the door slowly. Creak. Darkness. Thick darkness. The room smelled old. Dust. Mold. Something rotten underneath it all. Her flashlight moved across the room slowly. Broken chair. Torn curtains. Stained wallpaper. Then the light stopped. There were scratches all over the inside of the door. Deep scratches. Like someone had tried to claw their way out. Notice. Claw their way out. This expression creates a very violent, desperate image in English storytelling. And suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her. Aisha screamed and spun around. The door wouldn't open. She pulled the handle harder. Locked from the outside. Panic exploded inside her chest. "Help!" she shouted. Silence answered her. Then, footsteps outside the room. Slow, dragging footsteps. Someone stopped directly outside the door. A shadow appeared beneath the gap at the bottom. A voice whispered softly, "Now you understand." Aisha backed away immediately. "Who are you?" No response. Just the sound of breathing outside the door. Notice, "Now you understand." In English, this sounds terrifying because it suggests there is something horrible you were never supposed to discover. Aisha searched the room desperately. No windows, no second door, just darkness and old furniture. Then her flashlight landed on the wall. Writing. Hundreds of words scratched into the wallpaper. "Don't let him in." Over and over again. Thousands of times. Her breathing became uneven. Then she noticed another message, written lower on the wall. Fresh writing. Newer than the others. "He pretends to live here." Aisha's heart pounded harder, because someone had written that recently. Very recently. Notice, "He pretends to live here." The word "pretends" makes something feel deeply wrong and deceptive. And suddenly, she remembered something disturbing. She had never actually seen the landlord enter the building. Then came another sound from outside the door. Keys. Someone unlocking the room, slowly. Click. Click. The door creaked open slightly. A man's face appeared in the darkness. The landlord. Mr. Verma smiled calmly at her. Too calmly. "There you are," he said softly. "I've been looking for you." Aisha backed away instantly. "Why did you lock me in here?" Mr. Verma tilted his head, then quietly said, "Because now you know too much." Notice, you know too much. In thrillers, this phrase means someone becomes dangerous simply because they discovered the truth. And the truth inside room 307 was far worse than she imagined. Mr. Varma stepped into the room slowly and closed the door behind him. Aisha noticed something horrifying immediately. The scratches on the walls were names. Women's names. Dozens of them. Some scratched deeply into the paint. Some barely visible. Missing tenants. Former tenants. Women who had lived in the building before her. Mr. Varma smiled again. Most people never ask questions. He took another step closer. You should have done the same. Aisha's hands trembled violently. Notice, you should have done the same. In English, this sounds like regret mixed with threat. And now, she realized nobody in the building was ignoring room 307 because of ghosts. They were afraid of him. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from inside the wall behind her. Mr. Verma froze instantly. Another bang. Louder this time. Then, a woman's voice. Weak. Crying. Please. Help me. Aisha stared at the wall in horror. Someone was alive inside there. Hidden behind the walls. Mr. Verma's calm smile disappeared immediately. You weren't supposed to hear that. He lunged toward her suddenly. Notice, you weren't supposed to hear that. This phrase instantly reveals hidden secrets in suspense stories. And now, the real nightmare had started. Aisha grabbed the broken chair and swung it wildly. It smashed against Mr. Verma's shoulder. He screamed in pain. She sprinted toward the door, but he caught her hoodie from behind. They crashed onto the floor together. Her flashlight rolled away into darkness. The room went black again. Completely black. Aisha could only hear breathing now. His breathing. Close. Very close. Then, something moved inside the walls again. Scratching. Desperate scratching. Notice, short descriptions increase tension naturally because fear feels fast and chaotic. And somewhere in the darkness, someone else was trapped inside that apartment. Aisha crawled desperately across the floor, searching for her phone. Her fingers touched something wet. She froze. Slowly, she looked down. Dark stains covered the floorboards beneath her. Old stains. She finally found her phone flashlight again and turned it on. The beam landed on the far corner of the room. A pile of handbags. Women's handbags. Shoes. Jewelry. Personal belongings. Dozens of them. Her entire body went cold. This wasn't just one crime. This room had been collecting victims for years. Mr. Verma charged toward her through the darkness. Aisha dodged him at the last second. He slammed into the wall hard. Something cracked. Part of the wall collapsed. And behind it, a hidden room. Tiny. Dark. A terrified young woman curled against the wall inside. Alive. Barely alive. Aisha stared in shock. The woman whispered weakly, "Please don't leave me here." Mr. Verma tried to stand again. Aisha grabbed the metal lock from the floor and struck him across the head. He collapsed instantly. Silence. Notice, "Please don't leave me here." Emotional English becomes powerful when it sounds simple and human. And for the first time that night, the room became quiet. Police arrived 12 minutes later. Officers discovered multiple hidden spaces inside the apartment walls. Evidence. Belongings. Human remains. The building was evacuated immediately. News reporters filled the street outside by morning. Mr. Verma was arrested before sunrise. The woman rescued from the hidden room survived. Barely. And room 307 was finally sealed permanently. Notice. Barely. One word can carry huge emotional meaning in English storytelling. Aisha thought it was finally over. She was wrong. 2 months later, Aisha moved into a new apartment across the city. Cleaner building, safer neighborhood, no dark hallways, no room 307. One night, she woke suddenly at 3:12 a.m. A strange sound echoed through her apartment. Scratching. Coming from inside the wall beside her bed. Slowly, she sat up. The scratching stopped. Then came a whisper. Very soft. Very weak. "Help me." Aisha's blood turned ice cold. Because that voice was identical to the woman rescued from room 307. Notice, blood turned ice cold. This expression means sudden extreme fear. And somewhere in the darkness, another locked room was waiting. Thank you for listening to The Locked Room. But remember something. Sometimes, the scariest doors are the ones already slightly open.